Another day, another tip video. What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how to quickly connect these pin connectors to your speaker wires. I got this 12 gauge wire for my speaker. I'm just in the process of hooking up my amplifier to my speakers, and I wanted it to be really done properly, so I went and I got these pin speakers or pin connector speakers or pin connector for speaker wires. Anyhow, this I got this stuff here. It looks like this. This hooks up in the back of the speaker, and the package is really cheap. Costs about $2, something like that. It comes with two connectors, one for the left, one for the right, or one for the positive, one for the negative. It comes with these bushings here, these plastic bushings or fittings or pressure crimps or whatever you want to call them. They look like this. And two whites are for heavier gauge wire, which is my case here. I'm using 12 gauge, and this kit here works with 16 to 12 gauge. So basically, if you're using 12 gauge, you'll go with the whites. If you're using 14 or 16, you go with the blacks. These ones here, and I'll show you in a minute how to use that. First things first, I'm using heat shrinks to differentiate which one is the positive and which one is the negative. In my case, it's kind of obvious because I have a slightly different colors. I'm not sure if the camera will pick up this. And this way you will differentiate which one is the positive and which one is the negative. If your wire does not have this, or you cannot, they both have the same color, then it's very important to use something to differentiate between the negative and the positive. In my case, I'm using heat shrinks, and I'm going to be putting this one. I'm going to put the red heat shrink onto the red wire, and I'm going to put the black heat shrink into the ground or the negative. And this way gives me a visual on which one is the positive and which one is negative, so I won't reverse the polarity and risk to damage either the speaker or the amplifier. And first thing you have to do is cut. You need to make a flush cut on both wires. So take a real sharp pliers, make a real tight and a real flush cut, and insert your heat shrinks, positive to positive, negative to negative. Then you're going to take, let's start with the black one then. You take this end cap, has some threads inside. I'm not sure if the camera will focus. Yep, there you go. And you insert it facing out, the threads facing out. Then you take this this bushing here. The function of this bushing is to make a tight connection once you start once you start putting the connector together. So make sure these grooves here are facing also out. So threads out, bushing facing out, just like that. All right. Now you're going to take your connector, and inside of the connector, you're going to notice that there is a little needle, a little pin that is about, there you go. Hopefully the camera will, there you go. See that needle right there? That needle goes inside of the wire. See the threads of the wire there? This needle here is designed to poke through inside there to make a good connection. So now you're going to take your connector, you're going to make sure, try to do your best to center that pin right inside the threads right there. So just make sure it's inside. It's not really necessary, but you know, just for the sake of, you know, doing a good job, just push it in and keep pushing that connector inside until it bottoms down there. Now what you have to do is, while keeping pressure on the connector, you're going to start threading the end cap there, and you're going to get to a point where it's going to get really stiff, it's going to get really tight, and that's because that bushing there is, you know, crimping over the wire to make sure it's not going anywhere. Just try to, you know, don't force it too much. You don't want to break it, but just make sure it's tight enough, and make sure, you know, it's not loose. In this case it's really tight. Now put the sleeve, that heat shrink sleeve, up all the way, and using a heat gun, you're gonna blow some hot air on it to shrink it, and the connection is done. And you do the same thing for the other side. It is a fairly easy process. I like this because this pin here, see these little grooves here? Those grooves are for once meant to grab on the speaker tab, so this connection won't come loose. And also you can pry on these pins. You can bend them. Let's say your speaker is facing this way and you want your wires to go this way, then what you can do is bend this pin. You don't break it, just take your time, you know, bend it slowly, and then your speakers, if your speakers are against the wall and it's not convenient to have them poking out like this, and you want your speakers to be flush, then you're going to have to bend this a little bit. So make sure to take your time and not to break the connector. And this is it. It's a RCA brand. Not sure if the camera will focus on this. You know, it is, as I said, it comes with 2 black bushings and 2 white bushings. The white bushings are for the heavier gauge type, which is 12 gauge, and the black ones are for 12 and 14. And this is it. Hope you learned something today. If you're doing the same thing, this is this is the best way to go. All right, guys. See you later.